Hello. Before we start the video, let's remove all negative, low vibrational frequencies, vibrations, and energies. How to use your healing power. The meaning of the healings of Jesus, Dr. Joseph Murphy. Now remember, as you read this book, don't believe anything. Take what you take, leave what you leave. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just trying to offer different ways that we can heal ourselves. Let's continue. Chapter 11, The Impossible Made Possible. I shall give the highlights of the wonderful healing technique in the raising of Lazarus, mentioned in chapter 11 of John. For a complete detailed interpretation of this wonderful chapter, I recommend my book, Peace Within Yourself, which is an interpretation, chapter by chapter, of the book of John. Lazarus represents any dead state, the desire, plan, enterprise, or goal which is frozen within and has not been made alive and resurrected in your world of experience. It may also represent your desire for health, which has failed to materialize. Jesus at the grave of Lazarus represents you and your awareness of the power which can resurrect your ideal, which has been covered with the grave clothes of fear, doubt, and anxiety for a long time, and has been suppressed in the tomb of the subconscious, the supreme conscious, the superconscious, whatever you want to call it. Jesus said, "Take ye away the stone of superstition, fear, and ignorance must be removed." Martha, representing the worldly viewpoint, says to you, "By this time he stinketh, for he hath been dead 4 days." 4 represents the completed state, the termination, the manifestation. According to sense evidence, the situation seems absolutely hopeless, or the condition may seem to be incurable. Regardless of the external circumstances, even though the whole world would deny what you pray for, if thou wouldest believe, thou should see the glory of God. In other words, if you turn away from sense evidence and go within and contemplate the reality of what you pray for and sing the song of triumph, you will see the glory of God. You will see the answer to your prayer. To believe is to live in the state of being or having what you pray for. To believe is to live in the state of being or having what you pray for. Your thoughts is your belief, and whatever you think, you become. Live with the thought and reality of the answered prayer, and there will be an atomic and molecular change in the diseased body to conform to the new mental pattern. The stone is lifted as you positively refuse to give power to sickness, disease, or fear. As you give all power to God, The stone is removed, and you are no longer weighted down with the burdens of the world. Your new mental attitude is the angel who rolls away the stone of fear and false belief. You are now Jesus, lifting up your eyes, saying, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I knew that thou hearest me always. He cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. John chapter 11, verse 41 through verse 43. These latter verses give a magnificent formula for prayer. The thankful attitude works miracles. Many years ago, a friend of mine who had tuberculosis took these wonderful words of the Bible. I thank thee, Father, that thou hast heard me, and I knew that thou hearest me always. He reasoned it out this way. His human father always gave him whatever he promised. At one time, his father promised him a trip to France. He lives in Ireland. The trip was to take place in August, but the promise was made in May. He remembered how joyous and enthusiastic he was. He recalled bubbling over with expectancy and being thrilled beyond words. This happened even though the trip had not taken place. All he had was the promise. He knew it was certain because his father never failed him. He said to himself, why shouldn't I be thankful and grateful to my heavenly Father for the promise of perfect health? For I know that he heareth me always. I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds. Of thy wounds, saith the Lord. I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord. 2 or 3 times a day, every day, he would still his mind, relax, and let go. Then he would imagine he was talking to the invisible healing presence within, and he began to whisper, thank you, over and over again. He did this until his mind was saturated with the feeling of thankfulness. At the end of 3 weeks, the sputum test and all the others were completely negative. He cast God's spell over himself. He became magnetized as he contemplated the harmony and perfection of God, which he knew would be experienced by him, as it was already given to him by God. When he contemplated the peace, order, and healing power of God within him, there was a complete rearrangement of the atoms of his body. He became like a magnetized piece of steel which draws to itself other steel and not nickel and other metals. In the diseased state, he was demagnetized. The atoms were still present, but he ceased to vibrate harmony, health, and peace. His feeling of thankfulness and sense of confidence in the one healing power drew like a magnet the conviction that made him healthy, vital, harmonious, and whole. Like the man mentioned above, give up the false belief that other powers can make you ill without your consent. Contemplate yourself the way you want to be. Contemplate yourself the way you want to be. Happy, healthy, radiant, and strong. Identify yourself with these qualities and accept nothing else. Give up completely all fear and any other so-called causes or powers. Reject categorically and dynamically all false beliefs. Turn in confidence to the supreme power within, which moves as your feeling, your faith, and trust. When you do this, you are becoming a marvelous mental and spiritual magnet, and you will inevitably attract harmony, health, peace, and joy. The 3 steps in raising Lazarus from the dead are: 1. Recognition of your consciousness as supreme cause. 2. Accept the idea of perfect health and live with it in your mind. To believe is to live with the ideal. Make it alive. 3. The inevitable conviction which follows the previous 2 steps. You are now filled with the feeling of being what you want to be. Your mood is now one of authority, and you say inwardly, Lazarus, come forth. This is the command from the inside of the one who knows that I and my father and my mother are one.